Hello. Let me see. So I've got 2 people. I've got 3. Let me wait till I've got like 10 people, and then we'll start. Hi Jessica. Okay, so great. We have got 9. Hi Raji. Great. Hi guys. This is the first time. Let me know if you guys can't hear me or if there's any technical difficulties. It's my first time doing it, so I'm just trying my best to get this done over and done with nicely. So firstly, why I'm actually getting this done is 3 reasons why. The first thing that why I want to do this is for purpose. So as you guys know, I've been writing about my wedding, my blog, and many of you guys have reached out to me. So many of y'all had so much to say. You guys were telling me thank you. You guys were asking me that you want more content. Y'all want to know more about other people's life story, about their experiences. Hi baby, that's my wife. And this is why I wanted to start this, so that I can bring in different queer women with different experiences, with different background to come in to share their stories, and somehow or other they can relate to you. And you can also reach out to myself and them if you're going through the same issues of that, as them. Thanks Evelyn. Esther. Okay, so second purpose why is so that you guys all stay at home. And thirdly, I just want to push out awareness to all the queer women out there. You guys are not alone. And yeah, basically just do that. And over the course of like the next few weeks, I'm going to bring in quite a number of people. They're going to share experiences, and we're gonna see how this goes. So right now I'm gonna ask Jessica to join me live. So Jessica, if you want to just click the request button. And guys, if you guys have any questions for me, just feel free to ask us. We'll try to answer them, all the questions. Just waiting. Okay, let's go. I'm waiting for Jessica to join in the stream. So guys, I'm actually like in home clothes right now. Hi Jessica.
Hello.
Hi guys, so this is Jessica. Let me just give you guys an introduction of Jessica. I met Jessica about 4 years ago. And she came to Singapore for a conference, and I met her, and we kind of bonded over a Singapore sling.
It's true.
Yeah.
It was the first drink I ever had because I grew up Mormon. So I had never had alcohol until that time.
And surprisingly, more than me giving Jessica a tour of Singapore and sharing in Singapore about Singapore's history, Jessica was sharing with me. So I'm like, shit, I don't know about my own country. So she brought me to like Raffles Hotel. Is that right?
Yeah, and I've been going to Singapore since 2004. I've been there almost 20 times. I was supposed to be there actually this week. I'm supposed to be in Singapore. But of course, with the travel bans and shutdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah. Jessica is from the US. She's currently in LA. How's the situation there? Like the whole COVID situation. How you guys keeping up with it first?
Well, we've been in lockdown for 15 days and the stay-at-home order, so it's really bad in America. Los Angeles is doing really well with the social distancing, the physical distancing, and not going out when you shouldn't. So we've got pretty good leadership as with the governor, also with the city and county. But it's crazy. It's we live right off Hollywood Boulevard, so we go there on a walk, and it's us and the food delivery people and the homeless people. That's it.
Yeah, let's just hope the situation gets better. So
Yeah,
guys,
I'm actually drinking some gin since the first drink I ever had was a Singapore Sling. I got this in England when I was there trying to plan my wedding. So when I was there in December, I got this. My fiance likes to get me drunk on occasion because she can have her way with me, which I guess we'll be talking about later.
Of course, Brie has that. Okay, so Jessica, as you guys saw my Insta story, she is um, assigned male at birth. She defines herself as a female, and she's a lesbian. One thing that Jessica didn't know, during the time when I met Jessica, I was going through a very tough phase in life. So Jessica kind of gave me advices, and which really helped me out. So Jessica, do you want to just share with all of us your story?
So it's going to be on film. It's a documentary is being made about it that's in post-production. So who knows if there's going to be any film festivals this next year in the US. So it might go streaming. But the short story is that I grew up Mormon in Utah. I was the oldest of 5 kids. And when you are born into that society, you have a set path that you're supposed to go. If you are assigned a male path, you're this way, a female path this way, and that's the only way that you can go. And if you're assigned male, then you're supposed to get baptized when you're 8 years old. At that point, you're responsible for all your decisions, your sins. And by 12, you're supposed to become a member of the priesthood and have a life of service and go on a mission when you're 19 years old. I did. I went to Florida. Have you ever seen the Book of Mormon, the musical? That the dream of that character was to go to Florida, actually, but he's sent to Africa. And I had a brother who went to Africa on his mission. So I went to college for a year beforehand, and my family really pressured me to give up my scholarship to go on the mission, which I did. And then I came back and got a lot of pressure. It didn't fix me. Going on a mission didn't fix me. Yeah, because when you're raised being told that sexual deviancy of any form is second only to murder in seriousness of sin. So there's a lot of suicidal thoughts and suicides in the culture that I grew up in. I first thought about suicide when I was 6 years old. But then I would go to hell. So it's like this whole, how do I keep myself from going to hell and etc. After my mission, I got married really soon afterwards, and that didn't fix me either. I came out to my wife as cross-dressing a few months after we were married, and she wasn't thrilled, but we worked through it with it. And I went into the military and served for 8 years as a military police officer and also a special agent. So I did everything super macho to try to fix myself. But fast forward, so I'm 35 years old. I have an MBA, top of my class. I'm executive in a software firm, have 4 kids, and just miserable. And was the number 4 person in my congregation, the Mormon church, and just wanted to kill myself. So I decided to choose life. Came out to my wife. Here's the source of all the struggles we've had in our marriage. I'm a lesbian. I'm a girl. I came out to my mom when I was 13 years old, and she put me right back in the closet because there's no room for that in the Mormon faith. Some reparative, I call it reparative therapy. So I'm thriving now. Like that's still the past. So I came out, I came out from the time I started till did the core physical transition in 11 months, which is very fast, and had a project plan and were very motivated and joined the Human Rights Campaign and other LGBTQ civil rights activism because I did so much service and work in the Mormon church. So, you devote 10% of your income to the church, 20 plus hours a week of service. And so I took that and put it into civil rights and dated a lot and got married again and was engaged a couple times and traveled the world and changed careers a few times. And now I'm living in Hollywood, engaged and to a wonderful woman who you're going to meet later and just enjoying life.
I know you are enjoying life. Jessica, you want to share with us a bit more about your transitioning phase, especially for people who...
Shout out to Michelle. Sorry. So when I first came out and when I was in Texas and trying to find my way, Netflix wasn't streaming. It was on DVDs. I got a film that Michelle Wolf, she's an actor from Hollywood. She just joined us. And Her
Hi,
character
Michelle.
was really strong. Yeah, it was set in San Francisco, and when I came to West Hollywood, I had a chance to meet her and just tell her what an important influence that was. And we became friends, and she later shared with me some of the how meeting me was helped her in her life as well. So it was all about sharing. You know, you never know what someone's journey is. So
Yeah.
you were going to ask me about transition. Go ahead.
Yes.
Thanks, Michelle, for joining.
So what's the process of transitioning? Like, for example, you said that usually people take about 2 to 3 years, but you did it in 11 months. For the people who are out there who are thinking of wanting to go through a transitioning, maybe just walk them through a process of how it's done.
Sure. So it's an individual journey. There's a website called, it was called TS Roadmap, and now it's called, I believe, Transgender Roadmap, where I went to get information from. And this was back in 2006, 2007 timeframe. And it's expanded since then, but basically it helps you to find out where you want to be on this this umbrella, this arc of your gender identity, which is how you feel inside, and your gender expression, how you express that to other people, and also, of course, your sexual orientation, which is how you are, how you love. So there are three different things: your sexual orientation, who you love; gender identity, who you are; gender expression is how you share that with other people. And it's a journey to find out. Most of the time, they require you to go and see a counselor and to talk about it, because they have what's called the standards of care, where you're supposed to, they want you to make a mistake that you can't fix later, because a lot of things are permanent. Some things are not. Like a younger person nowadays, I didn't have this option because of how I grew up, which could go on hormone blockers and not go through the secondary sexual, as you go through puberty, because it's not permanent. It's not going to harm you in going on blockers. And then when they get 18, they can make a decision what they would like to do. So I was 35 and looking at, I'm going to lose my hair and I'm just going to keep getting fat and stuff like that. For me, I knew that I was a girl, and I had gone on this pathway because I had to of, and now I needed to choose life. So for me, it was no decision other than I was going to kill myself. I chose to live. I could always, if it doesn't work out, I could always kill myself then, right? But I'm going to do everything in my power possible to do it and to make it happen. So there's people that will choose different paths for them. They may be fine with dressing, their expression, changing their dress. They may want to go on hormones. They may not, they may or may not have surgery. That's kind of the push that is, when they say a trans woman is usually someone who hasn't had any surgery, or I should say the final gender affirming surgery. But it's an individual choice, and people should be treated as humans, however they are. For me, I guess medically, I say I'm transsexual because I went, every little piece of maleness or damage from testosterone I could find, I carved off my body. So,
And how much do you spend for this whole surgery?
well, this was before it was covered. Now that, like, the Human Rights Campaign covered with health insurance. So the Human Rights Campaign, the LGBT organization in America, has worked really hard to encourage corporations to include transgender care under their medical. For me, it was not. I didn't make any money in the Army, as you can imagine. Coming out, I was in high tech and went to work for a software company. And I happened, the timeline of coming out to my family and the church and things like that coincided actually with finishing my MBA program and the company going public. So the short answer is I've spent over six figures in the transition, because was no help in the like with insurance.
How did your kids take it? So Jessica's a mother of four. She's a parent of four. How did your kids first take it?
Well, my oldest was 12, my son, and he was really mad because I had trained him to, the pathway there that I was supposed to, which is a life of service, of being a leader in the church. And now, like, so everything you said is a lie. It's like, no, I believed what the church has said. It wasn't, I didn't actually leave the Mormon church till several years later. I tried everything to still fit within the Mormon religion, even after the transition. And they wouldn't allow me to go to the women's organizations and wanted me to stay celibate. They wouldn't want me to date. They wanted me to basically be a nun. And that didn't work for me. So I eventually left when they decided they want to kick me out for being a lesbian, which I'm like, thanks for recognizing, because I was dating a woman and they like said that I was committing adultery and same-sex relations. Like, you just admitted I'm a girl. So thank you for that. So I left on my own before they could excommunicate. But so he took it really hard. Fast forward when we reconciled years later, he shared with me some of the core reasons was he actually identified as bisexual and hadn't told anyone. He was really afraid to tell anybody at all and felt that I was abandoning him because I was going off to live my life and he was stuck in the Mormon culture and couldn't express who he was. That's years later. He had to come and live with me in Hollywood 2 years ago when he was 23 years old to come out and even share that information. So it took several years for him and I to build a relationship. I always reached out and stuff. My other children ranged from 9 to 4, and it was tough. Like, they lost a parent, but then they gained a chance to see who I really was. And we're all really, really close. My oldest daughter is one of my closest friends and helps me pick out dresses. And she's a master esthetician, so she's always guiding us on skincare and such. My youngest son is in the Army. He followed my path in that, an IT specialist. And we're super close. My youngest daughter is still in high school, and she's really, really Mormon still. And she hasn't come visit me anymore since I've been living with my fiance, but we're still talk on the phone every week and are really close.
And what about jobs? Do you have to come out and tell your story when you go and look for jobs or go for interviews? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, so employment was the last place I came out. I came out to family first and then to the church and the friends, but the job was the last one. So I had 4 children, and at that time there still is no national protection in America for any LGBTQ person. So we finally have marriage rights our last few years. But in the United States, in over 30 states, you can get married on Saturday on your wedding, like you did. Post up your Facebook pictures on Sunday, and then show up to work on Monday and get fired for being queer. And the company I work for in software and high tech, luckily that's a little bit better because they need to retain the best people. It turns out the company that I was working for in computer security, their very first contract they ever had was for the city of San Francisco. And they mandated, even when they were just a 2-person company, to have protections for sexual orientation. So it was in the policy. However, gender identity and expression was not in 2007. So I could be fired for coming out. And what I did is I took the materials from the Human Rights Campaign and other resources like Exxon as a company, Chevron, the oil company, and PricewaterhouseCoopers, the consulting firm. And I built a business case. This is as a vice president of the corporation. But I was not going to come out yet. And I built an anonymous business case to ask my company to change their non-discrimination policy to include to add not just sexual orientation, but gender identity expression. And they did. And then I came out a few months later. So they were really shocked, and the HR person was very supportive, thanking me for coming out. The CEO and the person I replaced were really angry that I hadn't told them before they promoted me to vice president. And like, yeah, because you probably wouldn't have. But overall, they were very supportive. And the founder of the company gave me a card, and a thing he made out of wood says, "Can't wait to meet JB 2.0." It's a little tech, funny when I went in for my first surgery that everyone else would see. I went through several phases, and if you want to get into the details of those, I'll be happy to share because I'm alive because other people shared their stories, put up on the website, and I was able to research and find the best pathway to me. For me, I was with that company at Loyalty for another almost 5 years, and when came time to leave, I had already been reestablished in my community and in the business. I never actually told my new, let's join another startup. I never talked about it. I mean, I was open as being gay, as a lesbian. I dated women. At that time, the company only had 20 people. And they didn't have any women working for them at all. It was all guys. And then 6 weeks later, Cisco Systems bought us, which is 73,000 people and has a very strong pride and inclusiveness. And, Silicon Valley is ahead of and businesses in general in America are ahead of government. So state of California has protections along with 20 other states, but in 30 states you can be fired.
Of course. I think many people go through that, especially discrimination at the workplace. In Singapore, it's still hard for them to come out queer. At a company itself, because we probably face fear of losing our jobs or discrimination or the risk of us not getting promoted. So that's something I think we all are still facing. And it's not just as a queer, I think it's as a woman. We just tend to be put down, and they just kind of put us on the sidelines.
It's true. My career hasn't gone up since then. I've already made choices. It's been pretty steady. I've made choices to work in positions that allow me to work remote. So I could have, I've had over 11 years of working from home or anywhere I want in the world, and I've taken that to spend more time with my children and watch them grow up. And now 3 of the 4 are adults. We have lots of good memories from the time I spent with them. And also to travel the world. I can go work from anywhere. I wish that has kept me from advancing more. I decided I didn't need to be a vice president again or chief technology officer or CEO of a small company. It was more valuable to me to have the freedom to go and spend in Singapore, or to go to your wedding, in Australia, or to go live in France for 3 weeks at a time. Still be able to work.
Yeah. Okay, so just another burning questions that many people have as well that they sent through before that.
I take another drink?
Yeah, please have a drink. How was your dating life? Did you have to come out to the women? How did they take it? Because as a lesbian myself, I have no idea how I would have reacted to that.
So when I first transitioned, there was a lot of shame still associated with it internally. And I didn't, this was 2007, 2008, 2009, before Caitlyn Jenner. And I was coming out in West Hollywood, which is where the L Word was filmed. I saw the L Word, on Showtime and Netflix. Like, that's how I identify a femme woman who loves feminine women. And so I came into that environment, and my fiance is sneaking down here below me to bring me more drinks. So, hey, honey, I'm snapping. You'll meet her in a second. I'm spanking her bum bum. She's making sure I get some liquored up. She wants to do things later. So I was concerned, to answer your question, when is the reveal? When's disclosure come into being? And when I was first dating, I didn't disclose it until I want people to get to know me better. And that caused some struggles. It did. There's some women I was with that they thought it was really cool. Like the first real girlfriend I had, she heard my voice and a friend told her about me, and I had modeled nude in her. She was a photographer, and I modeled nude for her, and she had a party about her calendar and told a friend about it, and the friend wanted to meet me and came to me, and we ended up dating for a while. And the next woman I knew, I dated, I told her in advance, and she thought that was great because she'd been to Thailand before and had some experience. I put on the next person I dated, I put on my profile that more technical, that had minor androgen sensitivity, which means I didn't fully absorb testosterone when I was in the womb, which is why my brothers are 6'1" to 6'3". What's that, like 180 centimeters? And massive men, and I'm smaller like my mom and my sister. And this was the medical reason of why my body was kind of a mix. I wasn't intersex, but was not, I had lots of feminine, like small hands and long eyelashes and etc. Right? Though I was born with a penis. So I asked her, did you understand when we were on our first date, do you have any questions about this? I have 4 kids and stuff. She said she had no questions. And then later, we've been dating, we had sex, and we're getting serious. And then friends of hers said, hey, that Jessica girl, she's trans. And she's like, what? And she's all mad. Like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I asked you if any questions about my profile. Or it's like, well, I don't understand what I meant. So I'm like, oh, okay. So she held me over my head for our entire relationship, which lasted 3.5 years. We're engaged. We didn't end up getting married. Finally broke up. The next one I was in a serious relationship with and ended up getting married, she asked me on their first date. It wasn't in my profile, but she asked me. She was from overseas, and I guess she could hear my voice or accent. And then after when I came out of that, I just got tired of even trying to remember who I shared or whatever. And I just put it right on my profile. It was right on my dating profile. Assigned male at birth, fully transitioned 11 years ago. And my fiance, she just thought it was hot. We met on Tinder. And she didn't read the profile until afterwards we started text, conversation. She went back and read it, but it just made her more intrigued. So disclosure is an interesting thing, just like in any, with anything in life. A lot of us have some privacy where we don't have to tell everything, but this is something that people really get upset about or really concerned about. And this, so I vacation at nudist village in France and walk around naked, and no one can say anything unless I've been off, coming off or can tell, unless I just came off an airplane and my throat's dry and it drops deeper, or they start asking me about my life and I tell them I was in the military and other things like. So in casual environments, I've had lots of sex with women that had no idea. And in relationships, it's important to be honest, is my personal feeling.
When you mentioned you had sex with a lot of women, can you explain to me what is pleasure for you and how it's done?
Well, I have a clitoris just like any other woman because I had a fabulous surgeon. So if anyone's thinking about doing this, don't go to the doctors in America would be my recommendation. Do your research. I went to a surgeon called Dr. Suporn in Thailand. I was starting to go down the path of getting a surgeon in the United States, and the way that they do it is called a penile inversion, which is take a outie and turn it into an innie, but it's in the wrong place. There's problems with hair growth. You don't have the vulva shaped properly. You have to go back 3 to 4 months later and have a reconstruction of the labia. And I can't attest to how they experience sexual pleasure. For me, the Dr. Suporn, he took all the parts, and we can get as graphic as you want, but he preserved we're all are conceived female. And if you don't have any androgen receptors, testosterone receptors inside of you, then whether you're XX or XY, you will form as a woman. You will be, that's how your body will be formed. So we all start with the same parts. That's why men have nipples, the clitoris if you're XX or XY with androgen sensitivity, then you will develop as a female with a clitoris of your XY, and you have full androgen sensitivity and receptors, and you get all the testosterone, then it will form into a penis. The ovaries or gonads, if the opening of the vagina will either stay open or it will seal up, and if it could go either, with intersex, then it could be some sort of mixture, and the surgeon was able to preserve those nerve endings inside of the penis and form a clitoris, and I am fully orgasmic from clitoral stimulation and enjoy sex very much. I don't have as hard of a sex drive as I did when I had testosterone, coursing through my veins every moment of the day. My fiance has a much higher sex drive than I do. She's just got a really high. She had her testosterone tested. It's higher than some of the guys she dated. But when you see her, she's a super femme girl. Looks like a Pollyanna. So that's how I mean, penetration feels good. My vaginal penetration feels good. So anal feels great if it's done the right way, which that's why she's getting me drunk, because she likes to do that.
Okay, is Bree there? Can we get Bree to join you as well?
Hey, Brianna, you're up.
Let's get Jessica's fiance. Just want to ask a few questions about
you're watching?
Yeah, I was watching.
You heard me talk about shit. They were just asking about the plesio.
Oh yeah.
I told them he had tight testosterone. They're like, "Whoa, hey, what's up?"
Hey.
Hi guys, so that's Bree.
I'm Bree.
Right, Bree. So do you want to just share with us what was your experience? How did you feel when Jessica first told you, or you first found out about Jessica's sexuality?
So I'm kind of an adventurous person by nature. So like anything I haven't done, I want to do it. That's just like who I am. Like if it's travel to a new place that I haven't gone to, I'm like I want to do it. I swam with sharks. Like that's just my personality. And so I think I was on Tinder and I was just like swiping away, and she was in like a latex outfit or something. I was like, oh, she looks like she fucks. Cool. So let me meet her or like text her, whatever. I was on my period, so I was like, let me just like talk to her, like see what's up. And I didn't read the profile because I don't really, I don't really when I was doing that, I didn't really like look things through, because this was my first time ever having Tinder, because I kind of just didn't care anymore. So, and then she told me, or we had talked about it somewhere in the Tinder conversation. I was like, what? Used to be a dude? Oh, that's hot. Because my personality of like, oh, adventurous, to me, it's more exciting because I had never experienced that before, and it was like different and unusual and taboo. And for me, that is more exciting and stimulating than just like a man, or like a cis man or a cis woman, which cisgender, for anybody that doesn't know, because I actually didn't know a lot of these terms, so like probably other people don't either. I'm just saying. Cis is when you were born a man and you're always a man, and cis woman is when you're born a woman, always a woman. Just people might not know.
And now that you're together, now that you guys are engaged, was it a necessity for you to tell your friends and family about Jessica's experiences?
It was really hard for me because my family is extremely conservative. And when I was telling my family, like, I was expecting them to, I mean, my sister, she kind of knows that I'm a little wild, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you would do that." But my parents and, my grandparents and stuff, I thought they were going to disown me because they're like Donald Trump supporters. And, I thought it was the end. I did not think it was going to go over well at all. My friends, my close friends and my friends, they kind of, people that know me know that I'm like wild, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you would be into that." So that wasn't a surprise to them, but for my parents and my close family, it was scary for me. It was definitely scary.
How was the outcome eventually?
It was actually better than I thought. I mean, for my dad, it was a little rough just because he was like, "What? Does this mean you're not having kids?" And I hate kids, so I was like, "Dad, I hate kids, so it's not happening regardless." Because yeah, I just don't want that kind of situation in my life. But with my grandma, it went surprisingly well. She is in her mid 90s. She survived the war. She came over from Nazi Germany, and she was like, if you were to tell me this when I was your age, I would kick you out of the house and you would be disowned. But she said, "We live in a new world, and I know a lot of gay people, and in the new world this is accepted." And she's like, "I'm really happy for you. I'm happy that you found somebody that you love and that loves you, because I've gone through a lot of bad relationships." So I think my family, the saving grace was that I went through bad relationships. So they had hoped that regardless of Jessica's gender history or whatever, they had hoped that she would treat me well.
That doesn't mean her father didn't bring a police officer with him when we first met and do a inspection of our home and interrogate me, which happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was a cop too, so I was like, yeah, I was a cop before as well. We talk shop, so it's all good.
Yeah, I was Jessica doesn't really get anxious because of, her whole life. She was in the military, 4 kids, her gender history, all of that stuff. I'm a naturally anxious person. So when that happened, when a cop came and started interrogating her, I was like, that was really stressful for me.
Yeah. So share with us what was your first, because you've never been with a trans woman before. How was your first sexual experience? Have you been with a woman before, Jessica?
Oh yeah, I've been with plenty of women throughout my life. I'm just an adventurous person, like I said. So it was exciting for
But you were
me.
dating a guy at the time.
Oh yeah, when I met Jessica, I was dating a guy. I wasn't really interested in having any kind of serious relationship because I had gotten my heart broken so many times. I didn't think that it was possible, and I thought if I did meet somebody, then they would just hurt me again. So I was dating a guy at the time, and he was really bad in bed, so I was just like, whatevs, like let me try this like Jessica chick out. We went on the first date. I didn't think she liked me because she's very, like I'm very expressive and she's very like and so I was like, oh, she doesn't like me, but then she actually did like me. And so then we went on a second date, and she was like, "Oh, I know this like party. Want to go?" And like I could give a shit about parties. I was like, "I don't give a shit about parties. Let's hook up." Like that's what I'm about. And should I say what my little I was like, "I want to see what's under the hood," even though that's like probably super offensive. But I wanted to know because I'm probably one of the most curious people that you'll ever meet in your life, and I had to know. And it was really good. She was really giving in bed, which was like amazing. And so here's the caveat. Most of the women that I had been with, before Jessica were not that good in bed. So I had kind of just like, I was like, oh, I'll try a woman, but I didn't really have high hopes because of my previous experiences of not having that many orgasms with women. And so I was kind of like, meh, I don't know how this is gonna go, but like, I just want to see, you know, I'm not really in it. Normally, when I'm hooking up, I'm in it for the orgasm. But in Jessica's situation, I wasn't really in it for the orgasm. I was in it to see like the whole transgender situation, even though that's really terrible. I'm a bad person. But then I luckily did have many orgasms, and I was just like, whoa, she's so good in bed. This is awesome.
It's just casual.
Yeah, I was very much like, this is casual. Don't get any ideas. I've already had my heart broken. Like, I'm here to fuck, and that's it.
Yeah, now you guys are engaged.
I know, it's so funny.
Jessica. Right. Thank you, Bree. Okay, so Jessica, just a few more questions. For you from one of my friends. She said that one of her daughter's friend committed suicide at the age of 16. Should be because he's gay, if I'm not wrong. By the way, guys, if you guys have questions for Jessica, just post it in the comment. And the question was, how do you deal with haters and suicidal thoughts?
So, Taylor Swift had a really good song about this. Is you need to calm down, like with dealing with haters, right? Tell me you need to calm down.
What is it? Haters never made me less gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The song?
It's
Taylor Swift.
one of the lyrics is hate never made me less gay, but the song is called You Need to Calm Down by Taylor Swift.
Mm.
So it's a really great video. And Jesse Tyler Ferguson, who was on Modern Family, is in it with his husband, who I worked with on the Human Rights Campaign dinner last year. So that's a great way to deal with haters, is, you know, that they're going to be there regardless. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do, there's always going to be haters. So just be yourself, right?
Yeah, honestly, I have like different web series and all these things, and people told me that I should go kill myself, that I cause cancer, that my voice makes their ears hurt, like, and I'm a cisgender woman, like, and this,
Asking if you're trans.
yeah, like, it's, you know, I think regardless if you're trans, gay, like, people are gonna hate you no matter what you are. It does not matter. I promise you.
And you can't please them regardless. So and if you can't please people, it's going to be temporary. And you're going to be losing part of your soul in doing so. So just be yourself. And about suicide is I have a suicide subroutine running inside me forever. But when you find love and when you are open and allow someone to come into your heart who can appreciate that, then it gets buried, deep, 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 deep down. So currently my suicide subroutine is way down there. I don't even feel it currently.
Is that where it just comes back?
Well, it's interesting. So it depends, like, how good life is, type of thing and stuff. When you're in a loving relationship, being supported and caring and with family and things, and it's not active. When you're not, then it's higher. So, you know, the feelings are real, and people should acknowledge them and seek help and communicate with whoever they feel comfortable communicating with. So what's been able to, you know, for me is just being truthful and, you know, and open, and allowing people to come in my life who can love me for and accept, you know, we accept the love we feel we deserve, and knowing that you deserve love and not abuse, or that you don't need to be in a relationship where you're being harmed emotionally or physically, and that you're worth it
There's
as a
one more
human.
question. Question that we got was about body discrimination. Um, when you were still before your transition, before I'm sure you have
Oh, somebody has a question.
hated your body. Hey Alex, just post them in. We'll get to it. Um, how do you come in terms with your own body and your own hate for yourself, for the body that you were actually born into?
Yeah, a lot of people use addictive behaviors to deal with it. They use drugs and alcohol. The fact that I grew up Mormon is probably the only reason why I didn't become an alcoholic. And Brianna can share with her experiences on another time about how that, how she dealt with some of the struggles in her life. And, it's, it's, we are who we are. And my mom asked me, well, like, what if I had been born 50 years ago when all this medical opportunity was not available? And I said, well, I probably would have killed myself, right? Because I would have no option. I would have tried to live as long as possible, and then I probably would have made it. So if I would have been born before this time, like many people in this world, I probably would have made it this far. So fortunately, there is, trans is cool now, which is, I can't believe that's the thing. But it is, it's trending. Transgender Day of Awareness was this week. And I don't identify as trans. People may think, oh, what are you talking about? Because trans means between. So I'm not between, a space between. I've worked my tail off and made it to the other side. My birth certificate, my passport, my driver's license, my life is all female, and they don't identify as being in between. Just a woman who happened to have a journey that took a little bit longer.
She says that she has a transgender journey.
I had a transgender journey.
Yep.
I'm a woman had a transgender journey. So,
I think somebody has a question.
yeah, that's just what it is.
Throughout your transition, have you felt coercive control?
I'm not sure what coercive and what.
I don't know what you mean, Alex. What's coercive control? Like, did you feel pushed into it? Is that what you're saying? How did you cope with it?
So, before, let's see, was it before or after? Let's see. So through it, I was alone. I was alone a lot. So my first wife asked me for a divorce, who I had children with, and I granted it. We're still friends and co-parents. And I was alone, but I was on a journey finally for me. I'd lived my life for my mother and the Mormon church and society and politics up until that point, and I decided to choose life rather than choosing, death. I had been in law enforcement for 8 years, and I had been to many death scenes, and I had responded to parent suicides and investigated them to determine that they were having to work with a family. And so I knew what the toll was on families and what a suicide scene looked like. I didn't want my children to go through that, and I wanted them to have an opportunity to know me for who I was for real, instead of whatever whoever survived me would tell them about me. And then I realized that, if I just put everything into this to be so basically it's losing fear. When you can finally lose fear and have, people, it's interesting. Some of the people that were the biggest supporters of mine were people I served in the military with. So I didn't have any assault, Alex. I guess that would be the thing. So No one's ever tried to assault me. I think probably because of my presence and
She's fucking scary as shit.
ever been former in the military. But I came out to my former people I served in the military with, and I found that those alpha male types were actually some of my biggest supporters because they appreciated what they called the courage to live free and to come out. And it's like, why would they have the courage to do that? Oddly enough, some of them, it freaks them the F out that they would actually find me attractive because they saw some of my nude photos afterwards, my black and whites and stuff like that. Because I was in fine art nude model for a few years after I transitioned, and there some of my friends would punk other former military members and show them pictures like, hey, check out this beautiful picture, like, wow, that's so sexy. And like, yeah, that was Bair, after my last name. I was Special Agent Bair for many years. So yeah, yes, you only live once, and letting go of fear about family and about society and religion and friends and work. When you lose that fear, then you can finally live free and whole.
Yeah, and we're lucky to live in the United States too. It's not a perfect country, but you know, where we live in California, people, people really accept the LGBT community, and no, turned around. People really they accept the LGBT community, and we're fortunate enough, if we lived in the Middle East, we would have to fear for our lives, and we probably would be assaulted often if we lived in the Middle East. But because we live in California, there's gay people walking around all over the place. There's transgender people, gender fluid, you name it. It's everything. So we're also pretty lucky to live
non-binary, gender non-conforming,
everything. So we're also lucky in that sense that we don't have to deal with that like other people do.
Thank you, guys. I think Instagram only allows you to go live for an hour, so we're coming to an end of an hour. So for the rest of y'all, if you guys have questions for Jessica, you will see that I tagged her.
We live in Hollywood, Alexa. We live in Hollywood. The question was, where do we live? We live in Hollywood, Los Angeles.
Where the big gay pride is.
Yep.
I know. I'll come there one day.
And I realized I joined from the wrong account too, so sorry about that.
You did? That's all right.
Yeah.
So like you kind of I tagged you on your open account, your public account. So anyone who has questions for Jessica and you want to talk to her about anything at all regarding this, you can just feel free to drop her a DM, right?
Yeah, just do it to the other account, not this one. I realized I joined it from my private account.
Should we write in is it Jessica and Bair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just
right. I'll write it in here for you then. For people that have, oh, cool. That's her main account.
That's the public one.
Yeah, so you guys can just follow her on that account, ask her any questions. Jessica's a wonderful person, so she'll be very happy to answer your questions. Thanks, Jess. And Bree, I will probably have a live session with you as well.
Sweet.
All right.
She's awesome.
Of course she is. You're getting married to her.
Hopefully.
Okay, bye, girls. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Kiss your wife.
I will. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey, Cher.
Hey, Cher.
All right. Thank you, guys. I think I saw a lot of y'all like joining me and going out. If you guys have any questions, and if you guys have like other queer topics y'all want me to cover about, just DM me, tell me if there's any interesting stuff that you guys want. I'll source up for someone to get them in to talk about talk about it. Trying to get Sher in so she can answer some questions as well one day. Yeah, so just that over the next few days to the weeks, I'm actually getting Bree. We have got like Jessica and Bree are gonna come in one more time to talk about their polyamorous relationship. So they're gonna come in and educate us a bit more about being polyamorous, the scene, and for us monogamous couples, for us to understand what the whole polygamy is. We're all humans, everything is fine. They're gonna come in and give us a bit more explanation. Guys, I'm here. Stop talking to Sher. So if there's any other content, you'll just let me know. Ciao, ciao.